the second part of the tutorial, I will show you how to light a scene. So I'm just going to import this cafe from Fortnite porting. We just want to focus on the lighting for this part of the project. I will also go over how to do volumetrics in this shot. Before we work on the scene, let me quickly show you guys how we can fix this light. So as you can see that this is an object. We could either use NOOBS to create a fake light, or we can do it using volumetrics. And let me show you how to do it using volumetrics. First we will delete this as we won't need it. We want to hit Shift A and add a spotlight, which looks like the shape of the one we just deleted. We want to place it to the location that the light is in. We also want to make sure the contact shadows is enabled. Once it's in position, you want to just maybe crank the power of it just so we can see it. Right now we can't see it because there's nothing actually below it. If you move it here, you can see it. Now with volumetrics, they only will work if there's a volume in the scene. And right now we have no volume in our scene. So to do that, let's show you. To add volume in Blender, all you want to do is add a cube or add any shape. I like to use the cube as it's simple to use. Drag it to the position and scale up. Once you have it in position, you can go, make sure you change it back to object, and you want to add a new shader, a new material, sorry. If you can't find where it is, hit A to select, and then the view find, so like the number pad button. Now we're here. We can delete the principled and add Shift A and add a volume. So if we go down to, or we can just search volume. Principled volume is the one I like to use. You can use scatter, but I prefer the principled volume. To not connect it to surface as it won't work, so make sure you connect it to volume. We can also view it here and see how it looks like. As you can see, it's very, very dark. If we view it in material mode, we should be able to see something here, which it doesn't look that nice, and we can fix that. First, we want to increase the volume. With Eevee, you have control over the diffuse, the specular, and the volume, and we want to increase the volume, so we can change this to 10. Maybe if we move this up, we can also lower the intensity, so I'll put it to 0.1. You can kind of see it working here. There we go. It was clipping inside the material. You see that is very, very strong, so obviously we don't need that. 10 might be too high of an amount, so we can lower it to about, we'll put that to maybe 1. And as you can see, if we hide this, that it's working. However, you do notice that there's quite a jagged edge here, and to fix that, there is a way. However, it might be quite demanding on your computer, so be aware. In the Eevee settings, we can go down to volumetrics and change the tile size from whatever it is. Mine's currently on 8 to 4 or 2. I can do 2, and you can see how nice it looks. However, it might be a bit demanding on your computer depending on your specifications. And here we go. It's looking very nice. You could even see that the light from the sun is you can even see the light from the sun is being blocked by this pure white, and it's casting rays over here, which does look pretty amazing. Look at that. So that's how we do volumetrics. I will also cover how we can do volumetrics inside the house, how to make it look good. Maybe you can just move these two to the side actually. So if I select all these, or you can drag select, just move them to the side. As you see, it doesn't move. To fix that, we want to change it from global and change this is transform pivot point to median point. This will drag them all together nicely. Now let's work on this scene. If we have a look at the lighting we did earlier, we can see that obviously this doesn't work out. The first issue is that the characters are way too small, and we need to readjust the position of the place. To do that, we can select Lucky Cafe, right click, select objects. This is selected, so we can just deselect by holding Control and drag. You want to scale this down till you see that the characters fit the scene. So we can probably just put them maybe over here. There are a lot of ways to get the correct scale, but I'm just going to do this roughly just for this tutorial. I think this should be okay. Let's have a look. That would be alright. For now, we'll delete. Actually, no, we'll leave Peely at the back, and we'll bring Jonesy. Of course, we can't see his bones, so we need to unhide it. So Alt H, and now we can drag him into the position we want. I think I'm just going to leave him on one of these chairs. Okay, this is very rough posing, but here we have him in the scene. To add a camera, very simple. Shift A, camera, and we can see what camera is located. What I like to do is drag down here, so we have another viewport. We can change this to 3D viewport. Hit the camera icon, and here we can see. We can also turn off these texts here. Now we can see our camera. So we can, if we move our camera here, it should adjust on that other viewport. This is what we can do to line it up of how we want it to be in our scene. Blender also gives us composition guides that we can use to help us create a good composition. So they are under here, under composition guides, you have thirds, center, diagonal. We can't see them right now because it's hidden. So we can, if we turn this on, we can see all the guides. For now, we're gonna use we'll use this triangle A. This looks kind of cool. We can also adjust the pass about to help us focus on our scene. And if you want to change the focal length of the scene, you can do this by dragging here, or you can do it by just getting it here in the camera settings. So I'm just going to quickly get a nice camera angle here. You also notice that we can't rotate it like nicely, because when you change it to local, then we have the rotation. So we can do this, line everything up nicely, and we can view it in. Now obviously this looks absolutely terrible. The lighting does not make sense at all. What we first want to do is we can hide the world settings. Now this is just showing our sun. So let's find the sun. And we basically just want to rotate the sun till it looks good, until some light is entering the place. Something like this. I think this is looking good. Okay, something like that could work. And once you've done that, we can increase the strength of the world. You don't want to keep it too high. Maybe something like this. So as you see, there's not really any lights inside of this house, which there should be. So we can add the light ourselves. So we can easily do that by adding an area light. Make sure we turn on contact shadows, as they're not on by default. And we can just place lights ourselves. Maybe increase it to about 50. And maybe we do one over Jonesy's head. Over here, something like this. Maybe change the color. So if the outside light is going to be orangey, we can make the inside light a bit bluish. There's not really right and wrong with the lighting. Just do whatever looks cool. Something like that. Maybe we can duplicate it and move it along here to light up the rest of the scene. Now, a lot of people want to know how to do volumetrics indoors, and we can do that very simply. Let's bring back our cube and bring it inside the house. Here. You can see that's it is a bit too harsh, a bit too heavy. So what we can do is actually turn off volumetrics from the sun by dragging down. Now the only volumetrics that is being affected is from these area lights. So you see, we turn it off the volumetrics. So we can turn these off for now. And we can add our own light just to do volumetrics. So we'll add a point light. Make sure to turn on contact shadows. Maybe increase it to about 500. And this can control our volumetric lighting. So with this light, we can move it around in our scene. As you can see, the cube is actually making it hard for us to see where our objects are. So what we can do is go down to object properties, and we can change it from textured to wire. This makes it a wire and helps us to see inside our scene. So with this point light, we can easily control the volumetric lighting in our scene. So I think cool is you can have it maybe bright at the bottom. Let's have a look. Something like this. You can do the other side. But obviously you want to have it making sense. So as you can see, there's a orange light coming from this side, so there's no point having a bright blue light. We would better off making it orangey like this and moving it to the opposite side. Something like this looks cool. However, there's a little too much orange, so we can increase the strength of our area lights here. We can even add some volume to it, maybe a bit. Increase the blue, maybe increase the strength by 200. Something like that, that's cool. If you want to know how to zoom like that, control spacebar to zoom into any viewport. And that's looking quite nice. As you can see, this part is a bit too bright, and there is a way in Eevee to reduce that. What we can do is create another area light, and did you guys know that we can actually put in minus values? So if it's like this positive value, which is 10, it's adding light. If we change it to minus 10, it will take away light. So what we can do is actually take away light from the front. It does look a bit like weird, but we can just try to adjust it as best as we can. Something like this. Might look a bit off. We can maybe lower the value a bit. Let's do minus 5. As you can see, we don't have our rim lights anymore, so we can bring them from our previous lighting and just move them along. So we have our rim lights back in the scene. As you can see, they're casting a volume, which looks a bit odd, so let's turn that off. We can add our scene here, and we can add our light, our other rim light from the other side. Like this. That's looking kind of cool. We can also just place PD in the background just to see. Oh, we can add them over here actually. Just look a bit too big. Now, the next thing that you guys might want to do is depth of field. And I'll show you the way of how I do my depth of field. I would first shift it and create empty. You can use any one you want. I normally choose a circle. Then we want to choose, this is basically our focus point. And we want to move it to a location where you want to be in focus. And for this scene, it will be Jonesy. So we can just position it to where Jonesy is. So right where his face is, that's where we want the focus point to be. And then we can go to our camera, and turn on depth of field. You may notice that it'll get all blurry. What you want to do is type in empty. This is the one we want. And that's focus on Jonesy. Everything else is out of focus. We can adjust the depth of field by adjusting it here. And just like that, we have depth of field in our scene. That does look pretty nice. Of course, this looks pretty bad because he's not posed and anything. There's no emotion and there's no story. But yeah, this is how it's looking so far. You can see how he made this pretty quickly. There's nothing crazy in here. It's just very, very simple lighting. As you go on, we can do more complicated scenes. But for now, you can see it's a bit too dark on the side of his face. There are two ways to do this. We could either increase the world. However, doing that will make the whole scene bright, which is kind of annoying. We don't want to do that. So instead, we can duplicate our room light, rotate it around to cover the part that's a bit too dark. So this part is way too dark. Like this part here is too dark. So we can just move it around. If I hit Alt-Z, you can do X-ray mode. You can also do it by pressing this button here. Toggles X-ray mode. So now we can see above. So now we see this. Now this is called flat lighting. There's not really any shadows. It's just flat. So all we need to do is just turn off the strength. And slowly increase the strength until it looks good. So maybe this much looks good. So we can actually select the light and we can turn it on off. We can see the difference. It's a very, very slight difference, but it does help with this scene. As you can see, this side of Jonesy's face is quite dark, so we should add another area light to that side of his face. As you can see, it's casting volume, which we don't want. So we turn off the volume over there. Bring it to his face. Scale it down. Oh, it's super, super bright. We need to adjust that as well. And even adjust the color. So let's turn it off. Adjust the color. And slowly turn it on. Yeah, that looks very, very clean. So this is it for today's tutorial. This is what you should be able to create very, very easily. Hope you guys enjoy it. If you guys have any questions, please let me know down below. I could probably do another tutorial on lighting. Mostly like an outdoor one with trees and grass. But for now, hope this helped, and I'll see you guys in the next video.